How y'all doing? It's Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just, Halloween's over, starting to get the schedule, wanting to get that schedule lightened a little bit and, not have to struggle. Every time we come on here, we have, great content, great episode, great writing. And you got me going, and, Dak Prescott, so I'm waiting for that day that I'm to my 3 days working and I'm a little bit, able to work out more, able to cook more, put a little bit better food in my body.
Mike, I know you had to work last night, but you're a pretty festive guy. If you're not working on Halloween, do you like hand out candy? Do you dress up? Like, is there like a regular costume party your friends will throw? Like, what's your usual Halloween routine?
I was like that before, but we have so many dogs now that it's hard to like let kids keep coming up to the to the
house.
to the house, and the dogs are going crazy, and some of them are at the door freaking,
Yeah.
So we just a few years ago we were just like, yeah, I think it was about 5 years ago, we were just like, yeah, we can't do the candy anymore. It's too much because we've always had 3 or more dogs over the last at least 5 to 7 years. So it just became too much. It's the same like, we used to go out and watch the fireworks on 4th of July. Too many dogs to do that, New Year's. It's just,
Yeah.
we always were a very dog first family. And
Right.
like you were telling me your story and I'm like, yeah. The kid, what's up with the dog? Is the dog okay? No,
Yeah.
little inside joke there for us, but yeah, so being taking care of the dogs became more of a thing than being part of the holidays.
Yeah, because of my dog, dude, I despise 4th of July now.
Oh, me too. 4th of July, New Year's. I don't mind Halloween's like my favorite thing is I love Disney villains, and I like,
Right.
if you follow my Twitter, you'll know you've seen me dressed up as
Exactly.
American Thor. I don't call him Fat
Hmm.
Thor. I call him because we know they were like, if Thor was America, he'd be this big fat ass with the beer and beer belly. So I was American Thor when I went to Disneyland, and I posted a bunch of pictures meeting like Loki and the Thor and the Almighty Thor, and it was fun. So yeah, I get festive for Halloween especially.
Mike, I won't, discuss your financial situation, but I feel like the person that you are in your heyday passing out candy, you were like the guy that gave out full size candy bars. Am I wrong?
We did have a set. We had the regular kids would get good candy. We were never like the cheap lollipops. We were always
Right. Yeah.
Reese's peanut butter cups, Kit Kat, Butterfinger, Baby Ruth. We're
Yeah.
always that. But yes, we had our select group of like 20 to 25 kids that would come and get a full candy bar for sure.
Dude, Baby Ruth is an underrated candy bar.
Great candy bar. Have we
That's
done
one of my
top
wife's favorites.
candies?
Yeah, we did. We had top five
Oh,
candies, and I think we decided to like keep Reese's peanut butter cups off our list, but we had a good list, I thought.
yeah. I remember because I'm like cold Kit Kat, cold Reese's peanut butter cup is like my top 2. I like
Yeah.
cold candy. Like I want my candy out of the freezer or the refrigerator for sure. Cold M&Ms. Ugh.
Never had a cold M&M, but I love peanut butter M&Ms.
That's a good one. The crispy is my favorite. I don't care if it's from pretzel or cookie or whatever, but crispy M&Ms cold all day.
Have you had the fudge brownie? That's my wife's favorite.
It's good.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Here we are talking about food right off the bat. Let the people know where they can find you on Twitter, sir.
At CD Piglet, guys, nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, Mike, here we are a day later than usual to break down the Cowboys' victory over the Chicago Bears. Let's talk about something that could be concerning to most people. It's going to be our run defense. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like it's the best it's been during the Dak era. That always seems to be the team's downfall when we get in the playoffs. And I feel like it was always runs up the middle. And I do believe with Bohanna and now everybody knows, if you've watched this, I'm a Hankins fan, and we added him and Watkins. I think better up the middle. they're
Yes.
getting attacked at the edge, but I believe that's it's harder to sustain that in games, especially in playoff games where it's like it's easier to not get like killed by that, to kind of ring that in a little bit more than a team that could just run 5 yards up the middle every time on you.
Exactly.
You know? So I feel like I understand where people are like, oh man, we're giving up big yards to certain teams, but we were a top 10 defense in EPA per play on runs before the Bears game. And one of the best teams in the league was the Commanders, and the Bears ran all over them. And then had a great run defense, and the Bears ran all over them.
Yep.
And they did to us. The thing is that's really all they can do. So when you're up 20 points like Dallas was, you're not okay. Run the clock out. So
right.
It's not great, but I don't see it as a thing where the team can get like eliminated by like this is going to beat us in the playoffs. I don't see it as that, and it's been that for many years under Dak's in the Dak era.
Yeah, it's definitely the lesser of the two evils. I look at it this way, Mike. The Dallas defense has allowed 100 yards or more in 6 out of 8 games. They're ranked 25th in yards. The defense is, which is obviously isn't good. Yet we've only allowed 4 rushing touchdowns all season, which is good for 3rd in the league. And we won 4 out of those 6 games. So, I'm not really concerned with our rush defense just because I feel like most teams can't stop our offense. And like you said, if you have to choose having a bad pass defense or rush defense, give me a bad rush defense all day, every day.
You want to know something crazy that I saw today? Last year at this point of the season, you know how everybody was like turnovers are going to regress. We had so many turnovers last year.
Yeah.
Last year at this point in the season, I believe, forgive me on the sack number, but
17.
I believe,
17.
Oh, it was 17 sacks at this point and 14 turnovers. And this year it's 33 sacks and 13 turnovers. So
Totally ridiculous, dude.
You've almost doubled the sacks, and your turnovers only dropped once. So
I'll take that.
Yeah,
every year,
all day.
33 sacks in 8 weeks is ridiculous, dude.
It's impressive. It's impressive.
Absolutely
crazy.
Sticking kind of with the runs here, Mike. Mobile quarterbacks, is that the Achilles heel to this Cowboys defense?
I don't believe this defense has an Achilles heel. If I'm being honest, I don't. I think is their toughest games against mobile quarterbacks. I'd say yes, but if you look like Eagles, if they don't get turnovers from Cooper Rush, didn't move the ball a lot, and the Bears overall, I think they surprised Dallas by continuing to run when they got down 28-7. And Dallas is kind of like, don't worry about the run. They're going to pass now. Let's get after the quarterback. And kind of, they got shocked into, oh, shoot, this team's just going to run. Like, they're not going to pass. But if you look like Burrow is pretty mobile and didn't do much, Jalen Hurts pretty mobile. He had 60 yards rushing, but if they don't turn the ball over 3 times in Philly's area, they had like 1 or 2 good full drives. The one after it was 17-20 was concerning, but they were pretty worn down at that point because the offense wasn't doing anything. And then this one's just Bears happen to be that unique team like Baltimore a couple years ago that teams haven't figured out how to stop their rushing attack using the quarterback yet. So it's the toughest, but I wouldn't call it an Achilles heel because I just don't think this defense has one.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. As far as mobile quarterbacks go, I mean, what team doesn't get hurt by mobile quarterbacks? And I think it's only really a problem if the quarterback is mobile, but he's also making you pay with his arm too. And we haven't had that happen to us this season yet. So, and I mean, again, like I said, I think every team struggles with mobile quarterbacks, but unless they're killing you with their legs and their arm, I'm not really worried about it.
It reminds me of I saw this thing today where it showed Dak over the last 17 games and his stats were really excellent. And somebody was like, yeah, show him versus the good teams. And this other person was like, Yeah, that's anybody. Like hey,
Yeah.
guess what? You play worse against the better teams. Welcome to being a football player. Like CD Lamb will kill other people. Justin Jefferson will kill worse cornerbacks than he will better defenses. It's like stupid stuff like that. Well, yeah, mobile quarterback's going to hurt a lot because they can make more plays, just how it is.
Exactly. People love to try to, you say one good thing about Dak and hear people come out of the woodworks like, well, what about this? Well, how does he do here?
Yeah. Well, how do you do in that playoff game? I'm like, well, I understand we wanted the team to do better, but do we have to define them off that one game? Because I could easily go, how do you do in the Green Bay game where he brought us all the way back? He was amazing, as a rookie. So why doesn't that game count more? You know what I mean? It's one game. So you got to kind of give it a totality more.
Yeah. Mike, sticking with the run theme here, if you were Mike McCarthy, how would you handle this Pollard Zeke situation?
Okay, so for me, I am not in the camp of Zeke shouldn't get the ball, Tony Pollard needs to start this or that. I don't care. They can give Ezekiel Elliott the ball 25 times if it's working. Tony Pollard needs to get 15 touches a game. Period. He forget who's running back. This not your best playmaker is Tony Pollard. It's not CeeDee Lamb. It's not Michael Gallup. It's Tony Pollard. It's not Turpin. I love Turpin's speed of it. No, Tony Pollard is your best playmaker. I honestly want him to get near the most touches of anyone on the offense. But the games, if you look like the games at Tampa where he's getting like 3 touches and there was another game he got like 8, like that's malpractice. At this point, that's malpractice. Like every time Tony Pollard touches the ball, there's a better chance he scores than anyone else on the field. Like that he on our offense, he's the one guy that, Tony Pollard has it. Okay, could be a touchdown. So I'm looking at finding a way to get him 15 touches a game, no matter what. If that means Zeke's got to get 8, then he's got to get 8. If Zeke gets 25, fine. Just don't tell me Pollard only had 9. That's not going to work. So mine is about making sure Tony Pollard gets touches, and then the rest of it can go around that.
It's funny you say 15 touches, Mike, because for me, I say let Zeke get the starter label, let him have the third down work, let him get the goal line work, but give Pollard a minimum of 15 touches per game. I was doing some number crunching, and in 7 games played, Zeke averages 17 opportunities being rush attempts and targets. He averages 17 opportunities per game as of today. In 8 games played, Pollard averages 12 opportunities per game. So, I like that balance, but like you, Mike, Pollard clearly needs more touches per game.
Yeah, 12 is not good enough. Get it to 15 at a minimum, 15 every game. He's just too good at cutting and getting loose and making big plays. He just is. He's got to get the ball more.
And just because Zeke's the starter doesn't mean that they can't be on the field together. Doesn't mean he can't utilize them both.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, this is not anything to do with Zeke. Give Zeke the ball 20 times. That's fine. Just make sure Pollard gets it 15 no matter what.
Every time you have them on the field together, you're making the defensive coordinator question what he's doing, have to think what he's doing, have to react. Maybe you send out a package there that he's never seen before. He has to blow a timeout. All those little things can add up, man. So any way you can get an advantage, having both those guys on your team is an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Do what you're doing. Use them the way you're using the 3 tight ends, which
I like that.
I'll save that for the more question going up. But just find ways to use them both and to attack defenses with them both on the field.
Yes, sir. Well, Mike, we saw quite the offensive performance, 7 touchdowns. Is this a sign of what the offense will be like, or did we do this against the bad Bears defense?
I think if we're going to be fair, unknown, it's unknown is really the answer, just because this was their first game that they've done that since last season. Philly, which was the backups, and then before that, maybe the Commanders, which had nothing to play for. So do I want to see him against? I know Tampa hasn't been as good, but I want to see us do that to Tampa. I want to see us go against Green Bay, against Minnesota, against Philly, against the Niners, go against those defenses and see, I don't expect them to put up 49 points, but see them put up 30, still be efficient passing, still be good on third down, still be good in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's unknown for me. And it's kind of just fair to say we got to wait and see.
For me, Mike, I'm on the other side. I kind of like to think that this is a sign of what our offense could be, because when we had Cooper Rush at quarterback, the offense was averaging over 21 points per game. I'd like to think Dak is at least a touchdown better than Cooper Rush. And, the schedule is going to start to lighten up. So I feel like we're going to discuss a little bit more here, but I think this is a sign of things to come.
I think it also is because the schedule's lighting up, but I don't know if that still means that it's necessarily a great offense or just a offense that can really put it on bad defenses. So that's kind of what we have to find out. Like you said, they're not going to do as good, just like Dak versus good teams.
Mm-hmm.
When they go up against good defenses, yeah, they're not going to be as good, but can they still be? Are they going to be bad on third down? Are they going to be bad in the red zone? Are they going to be bad in pass protection? Like, I got to make sure that they can do this versus, some of the more quality defenses.
If we put up 24 points against the Buffalo Bills defense, would you consider that good?
I would think that we have a very good chance of winning if we put up 24.
Would you consider that a good offensive performance?
If the offense put up 24, not if we scored 24 and Turpin got a punt return and the defense, got an interception and took it inside the 10 and we got a touchdown. Like, if we put up 24 points, I would think we had a really good chance to win playing Buffalo. That would be a good performance.
I'm not sure how much we did or if we did at all. Discussed it last week on Offsides, Mike, with your dad. But prior to this game, what were your thoughts on the Bears defense?
Hey, to be honest, I've watched a lot of them, and I thought they were pretty solid, especially in the secondary. And so I listened to the shows, and the shows showed that analytically, they said that the numbers showed that the Bears defense had a very, very good secondary that was making it very difficult to pass.
Yeah.
So I thought that this game was going to be about running. They were one of the worst run teams in the league, and converting on third down. And I didn't expect us to pass kind of easily is the, 9 for 11 on third down. And they kind of cut them up. They cut up their shell. And I'd say I was a little bit surprised at how easy they move the ball on the Bears defense.
I mean, to see us, we had like 3 drives of over 70 yards, 1 over 60, and our first 4 drives resulted in a touchdown. I mean, to do that against any NFL defense is impressive to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was about to say, if you did that to the Lions, who were the worst defense in the NFL, it's impressive because it's just hard to do that. Like we were the worst defense in the league. The Lions, I believe, were going into that game. And it was 10-6 in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's hard. NFL is hard.
Absolutely. I know, Mike, that you think the offense is maybe a TBD, to be determined. But looking at Kellen Moore, do you think that maybe he's starting to figure some things out?
I think you have got to give him credit for improving the red zone.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I think having to use Cooper Rush, helped him have to help the quarterback instead of relying on the quarterback.
Right.
If you look in, I think under Dak, coming back, they're like 7 of 8 in the red zone the last 2 games. Like, they missed one, and that one miss was Noah Brown fumbling at the 5-yard line.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, they're the play design on the Dak keeper was just excellent. The play action, Malik Davis would have been stuffed, but they got it to Ferguson for an easy touchdown. the way he attacked the Bears with the 3 tight ends, where he would get the 3 tight ends out there, and then the Bears would go run heavy, and they would up-tempo them and then just start passing, running, whatever they needed to do, like, because the tight ends are dual weapons. Schultz has been a better blocker this year. There's just no doubt about it. He hasn't been great. He's missed, but he has been better. Hendershot's been a shockingly decent blocker. That's not what he does, but he does. Like, he just seems to always get a hat on a hat. And Ferg, we knew coming out of Wisconsin, was going to be a good blocker. Regardless of the fact that, even in college, he was known as a hands guy, as a catcher. He was a hands guy that wasn't a separator. He was a blocker and then a pass catcher. And so, the way Kellen Moore is using those 3 tight ends probably has a lot to do with why Dallas kind of stayed firm on, like, if a wide receiver at the right deal's there, it's there. But if not, we're running a lot of 3 tight ends most of the time anyway. So, you got to give Kellen Moore credit. That his red zone calling has been brilliant this year.
Speaking of Ferguson, that little shimmy he put on that Detroit defender last week, dude, to get that touchdown, that was nice.
That was clean. Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard left a great safety in Eddie Jackson's ankle sitting at the 11-yard line. Just, oh, man, that kid is such a good. Don't get one-on-one with Tony Pollard. That's what the DC says. Don't let this guy get you one-on-one, because then you can't do anything.
There were 3 times where I thought Pollard was going to get either like a tackle behind the line of scrimmage or like only a 1-yard gain, and he went in for a touchdown every time.
That 54-yard play, and again, this is not a Pollard should start over Zeke, but Zeke loses 2 yards. Oh
my God, dude.
And Pollard was able to get around to the outside and get 54 yards, and that is why he needs 15 touches minimum, because he can make plays like that. And Zeke, who is good, I'm good with them. I promise you guys, give him the ball 20 times, but he's just not making plays like Tony Pollard can make plays. So you have to make sure you get your playmaker the ball. I don't care if it's running, passing, punt returning. Now we have Turpin, so we don't need it. But the point is, get it in his hands.
One thing I didn't realize about Tony Pollard is his vision, man, is borderline elite. I didn't realize. I mean, he's so good between the tackles, but then the way he reads the holes and can make those small little cuts, dude, it's ridiculous.
He is flexible, and he uses it to extreme prejudice.
Let's move on here. No, I'll answer this question. Was this a game of a sign of Kellen Moore figuring things out? I kind of feel like it did. Like you said, maybe having to Cooper Rush those 5 games, having to figure things out with him with a offensive line that is still kind of a work in progress. I think he had to maybe open up the playbook a little bit and maybe get more creative, like something we've been wanting since last year, like the first 8 weeks of last year. I think he had to kind of go back to his old way, so it was nice to see.
Yeah, they went from struggling in the red zone early to struggling kind of everywhere later on when the running game, teams could just play shell. And you could tell they came in this year and said, if teams play shell, we're going to run on them. So we need to bring that out, and they have. And we're going to score more touchdowns in the red zone. And they've done that. And you can clearly see that was the focus of this offseason. Be able to run against small boxes and win in the red zone. And they've really improved.
Yeah. Another bright spot, of course, Mike, on Sunday was Dak Prescott. Do you think that are we on the cusp of Dak taking his game to another level? Something that you and I have said we haven't even seen his ceiling yet. I mean, are we seeing him progress even more?
I just need him to get back to the first 6 games of last year. MVP candidate, and the thing is the team is not as good around him. So do I expect the team to have the number 1 offense? No. But if Dak is playing like he did the first 6 weeks of last year, with the way this team can run and play defense and play special teams, they're I don't see how they're not easily the favorite in the NFC. But I mean, they're going to challenge Buffalo and Kansas City even.
Absolutely. When Dak was injured, Mike, he mentioned that he was either like seeing the game or the game can be so simple. I can't remember the exact quote. When he was injured, he was watching from the sidelines. I think that seeing Cooper Rush have success in playing within the offense, I feel like that's kind of led Dak to trust himself and maybe Kellen more because of that. And I think maybe we are starting to see Dak take it to another level. Maybe instead of trying to be a perfectionist, he's kind of trusting his eyes more, maybe trusting Kellen more, and instead of overthinking, just kind of let the game come to him.
I think he's the best play action quarterback in football right now. I mean, he's just annihilating in play action. And again, I believe that has to do with the improvement of Kellen Moore's offense running the ball. So he might be ready to take that leap.
He was carving up the middle of the field. Something that, was always a criticism from Brian Broaddus is that he's great outside the numbers, but the middle of the field, his ball placement and everything needed work. And I feel like we've seen him be better, in a short sample size, of course, this season.
And it's been a thing about his interception. I will say that that watching the All 22, I believe it was more of a CeeDee Lamb thing, but I can understand where people would go like, just don't take that risk there. But CD did not run out his route and run it hard, and I believe he ran the incorrect one for the coverage that was in front of him. So, maybe they didn't have an option, and CeeDee Lamb was running the route, but the way that play put together, it looked like a deep in or a dig would be the correct route to go with the linebackers being sucked up for the Bears on the tight end. Lamb had a way to cut right in front of the safety, if he runs the route that I thought was the proper one. The great Bob Sturm, he was saying no, it was more on the quarterback, and he explained to me why he thought that. And I told him, I go, hey man, you're the man and you know this stuff. I see where, one, Lamb didn't run it out, which he agrees with, but he was saying that it was a post on that play. And I was saying that I thought Lamb ran the wrong route, that the play was not that the way that play goes, it shouldn't have been run as a post. That's the incorrect combination there. And maybe Lamb ran the wrong route. And so that was something he even said, there's no way of knowing that, and stuff. But I told him, I know, Bob Sturm, he's a beast. So I'm not
very well respected.
Yeah, I'm not going to get out. That's like telling Duke Merriweather, hey man, like you don't know nothing about the offensive line. Like, no, I'm not going to do. I wasn't going out there saying that.
Yeah.
A wide receiver might have ran the wrong route. It's very possible, and I don't like. Even he put that Lamb, didn't run it out. Which even if he does that, he can knock the ball away. But if that play was a post, then a lot of the blame goes on Dak because there's no way you could throw a post there. If that was supposed to be a deep in and Lamb could undercut the safety and go up and get it and then, try to make a play, well, then I would say great throw by Dak and the receiver wasn't in the right spot. So that's what's so hard about it. We're not in the film room. We don't know. And I pride myself. I think I'm very good at watching all 22 and understanding it.
Yeah.
But I saw one thing and Bob saw another. And this is, one of the best in the business.
Yeah.
It's just if me and him are both like, man, we see two different things without being in that room. It's just hard to know. And that's why I told him I would lean towards your expertise because he's closer to being in that room. He could really ask Lamb, hey, was it supposed to be a post there or were you supposed, and he may have. I don't know. I can't. So, I bow to him on that. But that's how tough that play was.
Looking at it, just remembering, from what I saw on Sunday, it was like in double coverage. Who's to say that Lamb didn't maybe make a business decision and he decided not to finish the route or go up for the route because once the ball was there, it was actually triple coverage. So, like you said, nobody knows except for CD and Dak.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike, we saw Micah Parsons again do something he hasn't done. He over pursues, then he goes all the way down, makes the tackle, causes the fumble, picks up the ball, runs it back for like a 70-plus yard TD. Is Micah Parsons the MVP?
Okay, here's the thing. Should he be in consideration? Absolutely. Probably a top 3, top 5, easy. Top 3,
Yeah,
maybe. But if we're just being honest, that award's a QB award. They always like
always.
Cooper Kupp didn't get it last year. Like the guy
How?
won the Triple Crown, everything, and they gave it to Aaron Rodgers, who had a great year. But I mean, like, it basically, unless all quarterbacks are just terrible, that nobody else is going to get it. And only 2 defensive players ever have won it. And while I see the impact Micah clearly has on this defense, there's not going to be enough voters that are not going to give it to a QB. They'll say defensive player of the year is what he wins. That's what he is. But MVP is going to go to a quarterback because the importance of the position. So unfortunately, I don't even think he has a chance at it, which sucks because he's great.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Mike is without Micah Parsons, we do not go 4-1 with Cooper Rush at quarterback. Micah is the MVP of this team. He is the best defensive player in the NFL this year, and he definitely is the defensive player of the year.
Yes, but what about MVP?
I said he was the MVP. Oh, no, okay. I said he was the MVP of this team. MVP of the league. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a quarterback award. I mean, Josh Allen and the Bills are having a good year, but we've kind of seen him do this already, right? And he hasn't been to a Super Bowl yet. Again, that's not just all on him, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of a player who, I mean, you look at what A.J. Brown is doing for the Eagles, the type of season Jalen Hurts has had. I don't know what player's having as much or more of an impact than Micah Parsons is having for his team.
I don't believe anybody really could completely say, oh, we're above, he's ahead of the impact of Micah Parsons. But I believe the voting would have Josh Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, and Tua all above Micah Parsons.
Tua. Interesting. That's a good one.
I know, but it shouldn't be.
Like, it shouldn't be, no, but that's an interesting one.
But I think they would, and then Micah Parsons would be right in that 3 to 5 range.
Because I think Mike McDaniel, he's more of like head coach of the year than Tua is MVP, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's how I would see it. With that award, they're going to try to give it to a QB.
Yeah, they always do. All right, Mike, you had some things to say about the Cowboys not making a trade. Maybe not so much as our guy Massey. Follow it, Massey at JA Massey there on Twitter, part of the 4D podcast and part of the Pick 6 crew as well. But, Mike, if the Cowboys had made a trade, what position did you want them to address?
I wanted cornerback myself. Cornerback, then DT, then wide receiver. I right now, I like Bland, but I don't like having to put a rookie in that responsibility when we're, I'm not trying to develop right now. I'm trying to win. Like the NFC's weak right now. I don't think the Eagles are that great, and they might be the best team in the NFC. And like, they don't scare me if I got Dak Prescott healthy and Micah's healthy and Tank's healthy in them. If I got my crew, if both our crews are healthy, I think we can beat the Eagles by a couple scores. Like, I just don't think they're better than us. They don't match up well with us if we have a healthy Dak Prescott. If you take Cooper Rush out of that first game at their house, I just think and put Dak Prescott in a ready, practicing, ready to go Dak Prescott, I think that's a smoke show. We whoop on them. They got 3 turnovers in their area and won by 9 points at home with Cooper Rush playing. Like, that is not a good sign for them. So I don't like our matchup with San Francisco. But yeah, I'm not into developing. I don't want to get off track on that. I'm not into developing right now. I would rather go out and get a guy, move AB to slot to fill the role of Jordan Lewis and get a guy outside. I think you could do that with Bland, but I would rather have gone and got a guy.
And so obviously, and for good reason, but the jury's still out on Kelvin Joseph, obviously, but even in the small spurts that we have seen him, I mean, do you still have questions about Kelvin Joseph and his readiness?
Bland's just been better. He's played better. They've both been on the field and Bland's played better. So this isn't me being from Fresno and he's a Fresno State guy. I love him. I absolutely know. I told everybody the minute we got him that he was making the team. I go, he's making the team. 5th round pick. We have so many corners. He's going to make the team because all he did was special teams. over everything he did at Fresno State. He was special teams captain. So I knew this was a fossil pick. It just so happened that he got out there. He has the size and the speed and the length that they like in Dallas. And he competes because of his special teams background. He knows how to compete. And so he's just right now, he's playing with more confidence and playing better than Joseph. Joseph, skill-wise, much better player. But if you're not right here, it don't matter.
Well, let me ask you this. What secondary do you feel better about? Diggs, AB in the slot, Joseph on the outside, or Diggs, Bland in the slot, and AB on the outside?
Well, that's a good one. I think I'd still go with Bland in the slot. I think he's played better in the slot than Joseph has on the outside. Here's the thing. I believe Kelvin Joseph's a gamer, and I believe I do not want this to happen, but somebody breaks their arm and Kelvin Joseph has to play 6 games. I think in those 6 games, we would leave going, oh shit, Kelvin Joseph's our corner out there. Like he's going to be a guy, but not in just limited reps. Like, he's coming in, he plays a few, gives up a touchdown. Like that was a hard cover. He shouldn't have been on outside leverage. His help was outside. So it's on him still. But I just think if he played 5 games, he would ball out.
Right.
Deron Bland might though too. Like, and that's just on the type of ability and grit he has. So I would take Deron Bland in the slot.
So, but let's just say heading into 2023 season, Joseph's got a full offseason as a starter. Bland's got a full offseason as a starter. Feeling pretty good about the secondary with Diggs, Bland, and Joseph, right?
Yeah, I'd be pretty happy, especially if Bland can show that he can play that slot spot. Oh, my Lord.
And then maybe a Nashawn Wright as CB4. Is that kind of still a work in progress? What's going on with Nashawn Wright?
I just think he was a special teams guy. They were hoping to develop his size the way they have Bland. But Bland is not that big, but he's bigger. He's what you actually want. See, once you start to get up into the taller than Bland types, now you get guys that aren't shifty enough. Yeah. Bland is just that right height and length and shiftiness. Nashawn Wright doesn't have the shiftiness. If you run a drag on him, you're going to get yards every time. He just doesn't guard it well. And then his special teams hasn't been as good as the guys coming up. So he's been inactive.
Okay. So, Mike, realistically, looking at this, talking about these trades here, who are you hoping Dallas would trade for? Was there a player in mind?
Yeah, Jeff Okudah.
You thought he might be on the trade block?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're 1-whatever. They're 1-7.
But I feel like he's a cornerstone piece.
He's in his 2nd or 3rd year. He hasn't done anything for them up before this year that makes them like, all right, we got to do this or that. If they could get a 2 for him, which I'd rather give up a 3, but I feel like this is the first year that he started to show off, and they're the last defense in the league, and he's more of a run support. But I like that. I want a cornerback that can come up and run support and help out on the outside. I think that's one of the quote unquote weaknesses of Dallas's corners coming up and filling that outside. And Okudah's good enough in coverage. He's on a rookie deal. He could do that. And then Judy was the other one. If we had to go wide receiver, I like Judy on a rookie deal. I liked him out of college. I think Dak's good at making wide receivers better. And I don't think Russell Wilson is doing that anymore at this point of his career. So I would have liked, those would be my 2 guys on offense and defense.
Do you think Jerry Jeudy would have been a better fit in this offense than maybe a Chase Claypool?
Yeah, I think Jeudy probably fit the most what Dallas would want over Claypool and Cooks. I think Jeudy was more the fit because he can move around, which is what they want because CeeDee Lamb can move around too. So, yeah, I think Jerry Jeudy would have been the best fit.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, our defense would have been nasty if we could have Okudah and Diggs on the outside, dude. My goodness.
Ugh, disgusting.
So, Mike, you mentioned in that tweet earlier that you were hoping if we were to make trades, there was 2 defensive positions that you were hoping to adjust. But when you look at it, are Hankins, Damone Clark, and Deron Bland the reason Dallas didn't make a trade, you think?
I think that's the reason they'll say. I think they'll
Mm-hmm.
come out and, we like the guys we have and everything, but this
Exactly.
team's just, it's not something they do. Like, they're bad at trades. Like, every once in a while they hit a good trade, but for the most part, they want to win a trade so bad
Exactly.
that they just don't do it. And when they do, it's normally, it had been so bad that you understand why they got laughed at so many times. You understand why they're so reluctant to pull the trigger on one. Like, the best one they've done lately was Quinn. Quinn was a great trade, but before that, like, if you look back now, the value for what you got from Amari Cooper probably wasn't worth it. You let him go after a couple of years. First round pick would have been around 5 years. He did help the team and help Dak in that time. But if you really push back and look at it, you probably rather have the first round pick. We all know about the Roy Williams and the Joey Gallo trades. And
Oh my goodness.
I mean, we've had some bad ones. So, I think they were afraid that they weren't going to be relevant after how bad they looked in Tampa and Dak got hurt. Now that they know the team has an easier schedule, the quarterback's healthy, they're going to be relevant all year. I don't think they're really like, all right, gun ho to go out. They've never been that. As long as they're relevant and making money and in the news, that's good enough. And then if they could win a deal where everybody's like, damn, you got that, then they'll do it. But otherwise, they're not going to risk losing a deal.
Yeah, we either overpay for a guy or we do nothing at all.
Yeah, that's it.
So, Mike, what were your thoughts on the Tristan Hill release? Were you surprised?
No, only because Dallas is bad at trade, so they couldn't get one done for anything. And then the other is with Basham coming back and Hankins, Gallimore probably has a better chance of getting a big payday, after he's gone. So you keep him and try to get him good to get a comp pick. I don't think Hill was there because he's been better this year, but just because you're better than expectations doesn't mean you were good either. So, there's not going to be teams running out jumping to sign him to a 4-year deal if he clears waivers, So I'm not surprised he got cut, honestly.
I feel like his career trajectory, if he's lucky, he could be like the Dorrance Armstrong,
Yeah, he's young, get on the right team. That's possible.
But he always makes splash plays, but he's never consistent. Because he never had a full-time role here either because of injury and things like that. But I wish him well. I hate to see players, with that kind of with talent do bad or fall out of the league. So hopefully he can do something, man.
Yeah, maybe he makes it back to the practice squad.
Oh, that'd be nice. All right, Mike, here we are.
Oh, sorry.
If you can stay awake on us, Mike, your views from the sidelines. What did you see from Damone Clark in his first NFL game?
I was asleep. No, I'm just kidding. Do you know that he clocked the fastest time of any linebacker this season?
I do. Micah said he's faster than him.
Yeah. He's larger. Like he's a freak. He doesn't have the natural, like, how do I put this? Because obviously the speed and the size are natural gifts, but like he's not Micah Parsons is so rare, but he's like one of those guys that when you pair him with a Micah Parsons, it's unfair. Like, dude. Oh my God, Jabril Cox is like not going to be able
waiting in the wings.
And next year you have Curse signed, you have Hooker signed. Wilson might go, but you have McQuamu, you have Marquise Bell. Like, Jabril Cox has got to get really good on special teams or hope Luke Gifford goes to start getting actives and be able to get in games. Like, that's how special these two linebackers could be. Now, don't be surprised if Clark gets like 10 snaps next week. There's no way they wanted him coming back off that spinal fusion and running 40 snaps. Like, Mike McCarthy is into the GPS numbers, and don't be surprised. Don't freak out like, oh, he must have not been good. They only give him 10 snaps. They're going to try to, work him back in a lot slower than that. Yeah, 40 snaps. He was in over 50% of the snaps, barely. It was 79 total defensive snaps, and he was in 50 of them. So if I wouldn't be surprised that Jabril Cox is active this week and plays in a lot of snaps because they're trying to give Damone Clark a little bit of a break.
Yeah, keep him in a bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Man, it would be nice, though, if I just feel like Micah's skill set, Damone's skill set, and then Jabril's skill set, they all match so perfectly that trio could just be so ridiculous, dude.
It's pretty nasty. Like, no team's going to want to run like the 3 tight end sets like we run on us because you're basically asking us to bring Curse up and bring Jabril Cox, Damone Clark, and Micah Parsons right at the line of scrimmage. Like, everybody's going to want to spread out just to avoid that linebacker crew.
So, I mean, Damone had that one play where he ran for like close to 22 miles per hour, but just from an evaluation standpoint, I mean, were you impressed from what you saw? Did he look better than you thought, or were you just like, okay, I see something?
I know he's obviously athletic, but I don't know if he knew where he was supposed to be going all the time, which is fair. Like, that's not a criticism of him. He's a rookie. It's week 8 and he's making his first start. He had no training camp. Like, let's give this guy some time. So I'm not going to kill him and be like, oh, I evaluated and he just wasn't that good. You can see it. You can see he's going to be really friggin' good, guys. Get excited. But I'm not guaranteed that it'll be this year. Let's give him some time to work it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to look distracted here, but I hear something going on outside. It was like somebody was on my back patio. It sounded like there for a second. Hold on. Give me 1 second, bro.
Yeah, go for it. I'll talk. Look, I'll just go into the next question, which is, okay, with a 6-2 record, the Cowboys are, and it's for one word. That's our one word of the day. I picked relevant. I think relevant's a good word because it's kind of what the Joneses want. I'm not going to say they're top contenders, but I'm going on to one word right now, Paul. So my word was relevant. And,
I like that.
And I picked it because I think it's kind of what the Jones, at the beginning of the year, they were afraid that they weren't going to be. And so they kind of got a win already on the season because the ticket sales are going to be engaged. They're going to be in a playoff and they're going to be in at least one playoff game more than likely. Yeah. So right now, as of right now, they are relevant. They are in the mix.
That word makes me feel better about my word. Not that it's a bad word. It's actually perfect. It's just usually you go deep into the dictionary, Mike, with some words I've never even heard before. So for me, my one word is with a 6-2 record, the Dallas Cowboys are surprising. Mike, to start out the season, we lose, some key pieces to this team. The draft was kind of a wait and see approach. And of course, the free agency signings weren't very exciting to a lot of people. We kind of went into the season thinking it was going to be a development. I believe that was a word that we used quite a bit heading into the season. But to see us with a 6-2 record heading into the bye, oddly enough, I think it was either both of us or one of us had us going into the bye with a 6-2 record. I know that we were pretty high, just looking at the schedule, from a team versus team standpoint, we still thought the Cowboys were a playoff team, but I can't help but feel like we both thought the Cowboys again were going to be 6-2 heading into the bye, but we also didn't have very high hopes for the season either.
I definitely had mine at 6-2 because I had losses to Tampa and the Rams. Those were my two. And I want to say I thought you might have had 7-1, but I'm not sure about that. But you got to imagine if you had Dak Prescott, you're probably right.
I had I know I had us starting off 4-0, red hot, but then I feel like I had us going 2-2, maybe losing to like the Lions and maybe the Lions and the Eagles. I feel like
maybe it could be.
Okay. Well, Mike, here we are, kind of I know Halloween is past, but in the spirit of Halloween, we've already ranked candy. I think we did scary movies once. So now we're going to do our top 5 tonight is top 5 things you're afraid of. Mike, what's number 5 on your list?
It was tough because I don't have a lot of like fears. So it was tougher, but I don't really like heights. So I put that as 5th. I'm not one that wants to get up and I don't do white boy stuff, even though I'm a white boy. I don't.
Right.
skiing and bungee jumping and all that stuff because I don't like the heights of it and like I'm good on that. So yeah, that would be my 5.
Mike, number 5 for me. This has been something since I was a little kid. I don't know if it had anything to do with the movie Arachnophobia. I'm sure you're a fan of that movie, but spiders, number 5. I remember, Mike, I was like between 16 and 18 years old, obviously still living with my mom. I went to go get in the shower and I saw a spider and I screamed and had to have my mom come kill it.
Bro, I was outside. My roommate Bubs was here. He's sitting on the balcony or on a bench, a statue bench we have out there, and a black widow goes right by his shoulder and head, and I am so afraid that I'm like, oh, but I don't tell him what it is. But he sees the fear on his face, so I just see him freeze up and he gets up and just starts walking away because he doesn't know what it is, but he knows I'm so scared. And we laugh about it to this day. He goes, and he picks up. He was pure fear. He didn't know what it was, just on how afraid I was looking at the spider by him. And I'll give it away. Spider is my 4. So now you could do 4 and 3 because that was my 4 with spiders.
Mike, we had a bit of an inverse here because 4 for me, like you, I don't do a lot of white boy activities, but heights. I'm not the guy that like wants to go hang out on the roof. I mean, I will get on the roof, but it has to be pretty small. I don't like to be on ladders. I'll ride roller coasters and stuff, but like I don't like. There's a ride at Six Flags. It's like you just get in this swing and you're like hundreds of feet in the air, like that kind of stuff. No, I ain't doing none of that, bro.
No, thanks. That's white boy stuff. I ain't that kind of white guy.
Yeah, we're a little bit more mellow.
Yes.
So, Mike, number 3 for me. I know this is something you're not afraid of because we discussed it, but public speaking. I hate to be the center of attention. I don't know if you consider this public speaking. I know that people tune in, when we're live and things like that. But if I had to take public speaking in high school, and when I had to get up in front of the classroom and give a speech or do anything, I was just a nervous wreck. And again, I don't like to be the center of attention. So, public speaking for me is my 3rd fear. How about you?
I believe you should call it speaking in front of people.
Okay.
Because you're kind of public speaking here.
You think this is public speaking? I wasn't sure.
Well, because you're speaking to an audience, but when the audience is right in front of you, it's a different animal.
Oh, it's such a different animal, dude. But you said I don't know. Did you go to college for that or?
Oh, yeah, I was one class away from majoring in speech. Look at how much I talk on the podcast. People want me to shut the hell up. I have no problem speaking in front of people.
So, I mean, you're fine to give a presentation. It could be 100 people. It'd be 1,000 people. Doesn't matter. You're good.
Yeah. I've been on TV like 5 times.
Really?
Yeah. Different times. I had one where I was cooking something in elementary school. I had created an oven, and the newscasters picked out mine out of all the whatever science stuff or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I talked on that. We had another time we were seeing the Beavis and Butthead movie, and I was under 18. And so they were talking to me and the parent about, hey, should you be able to watch this movie or whatever? I'm trying to think. I've been on for, obviously the movies we've had have been on, but what was the other? I've been on 3 other times. One was a court thing. I can't remember, but I've been on TV like 5 times.
Public speaking, that's a skill, man. You can make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah. Hey, we're trying.
Hey, we are trying, but I'm just saying, on the side, or if you ever wanted to dabble or go finish that one credit, you could find yourself making a lot of money, my friend.
I should get that done. If I did it, though, it'd be in business management because I'm 2 electives away from a degree in that.
Because, obviously you have an ability you're a good speaker. I imagine you're a pretty good storyteller. I've never had you tell me a story, obviously, but hearing you reminisce about your past, it's obviously you're a good storyteller. People don't like to do it, dude. So the ones who can do it, man, they can cash in.
You didn't think the banana pudding was a good story?
No, of course I did. All your stories you told me.
My 3rd fear is banana pudding. No, it's the unknown.
Oh, fear of the unknown. Interesting.
Yeah, I have a big fear of the unknown, and I think it has to do with all my medical issues. So anytime I have to go in for like lab test, it used to be needles would have made this, but with being diabetic, I've gotten so used to needles that they don't bother me as much. But like anytime I have to like give blood or like even as far as somebody goes, I need to talk to you later. Like I get like, I'll think about it like, well, what happened? What's, what? And I can panic attack myself if I don't be careful, So yeah, fear of the unknown is a big one for me.
So like if somebody called you and said, hey, dude, I'm about to pick you up. We're going to go on an adventure. Would you need to like know all the information before even going? Or would you be like, okay, I'm good?
No, because I let it was known that we're going to do something fun, an adventure. If it was like, it was something I need to talk to you about,
I got
then
you.
I would be like, what's that? Give me a heads up, I would be more nervous.
I got you. All right, Mike, move on to number 2, because my number 3 was public speaking. Yours is the unknown. What's your number 2?
2 is drowning.
Oh.
I used to have a reoccurring dream where when I worked in a truck as a truck, I wasn't the truck driver, but there's a laborer that typically goes with the truck driver. And I would always have this dream. We were going over the grapevine and the truck would go over and go into Pyramid Lake. Yeah. And then I would drown and then I would wake up like freaked out. And it's like, I don't want to die drowning. Like that's one of the things. It's like no. So yeah, drowning is not good for me.
Okay. Mike, number 2 for me is, this might be a little bit, maybe personal here, but never doing anything with my life. And what I mean by that is like, here I am 5 years from now when I haven't moved up anywhere in my career. Like I'm still at the same job, making the same pay, or, I haven't bought my family a house, me and my wife and my son a house, or, we haven't like gone on any trips, or, we're just kind of in the same place that we are as we are today.
Instead of a fear, that became a reality for me.
Stop. You've done so much in the last year, dude. You can't say that, bro.
Years ago, that was a fear. Now it's just, okay, it happened. All right, well.
Dude, in the last 2 years, the things that you've accomplished, bro, I know I haven't known you very long, but man, you can't say that, dude. That's not true.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The last couple of years have been something pretty special here.
Absolutely. Mike, it's okay. Am I number 1 or your number 1?
Number 1. I always go first, and then you. My number 1 is being eaten alive.
Oh,
a shark.
Wow.
I won't.
Okay.
I'm not going in the ocean because I can't. Even on land, I could defend myself. Even if it's a lion, a bear, I can run. I can get a weapon, whatever. And in the water, nah, bro. Shark gets you, alligator gets you. You're gone. Like one of those big ass boa constrictors. Like I don't want to do that shit. People want to do safaris, and I'll go on soaring around the world at Disneyland. Like I'll see. That's as close as I want to get. Yeah. I have no interest in that. Yeah. So yeah, being eaten alive is I don't. Oh God, like a snake digesting you, like you're alive. Nah, bro.
I'm kind of surprised, not criticizing your top 5, but it seems like these are things that like you've thought about being possibilities. I'm not saying, obviously people get eaten alive, get bitten by sharks and stuff, but it seems like yours are more things that are less likely to happen than I feel like kind of mine are more like everyday realistical type stuff.
I don't fear a lot like to be honest.
Right, like you did mention that.
I'm okay with heights. Like I don't like them, but I don't fear them. Spiders, for the most part, I got spiders, daddy long legs all over my friggin' room because I don't want flies. So I'll leave a couple of daddy long legs alive and let them get the flies out of there. They don't like, I don't like black widows, but I'm not really like, oh my God, afraid. But that one story where I'm like the fear on my face scared the other guy.
Yes.
It's because I couldn't. It was right by him. So I didn't want to be like Black Widow. So I couldn't figure out what to say in time. By the time he noticed that I was like, oh shit, something's wrong. And so it freaked him out more, and so that's what makes the story like, oh yeah, I was really scared of these spiders. But it really was like, I froze on what to say to him to be like, get out of there, a spider, and so the fear on my face and freezing scared him, so this one was a hard one for me. I won't lie.
Yeah. Did the movie Arachnophobia though? I mean, did that have any effect on you at all?
No, I actually like that movie. It's not, I mean, it's dumb.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. But that's what I say. When I say something's dumb, doesn't mean it's bad. I just watched I was watching the Terrifier movies. They're dumb, but that doesn't mean they're bad. If you know going in, you're kind of watching it to see how the gore is designed. You go in and you if you're watching it like, oh, why is this guy doing that? What's the plot? Like, what's his? And no, you're gonna hate it. But if you go in going, this director always does crazy stuff with his deaths. I want to see what he's gonna do in this movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then you end up liking the movie, even though the movie's clearly dumb.
Right. All right, Mike. Number 1 on my list, being a bad father. And what I mean by that, it's like, when my time on earth is done and my son like looks back, he's like, my dad, he was a nice person, but like I don't have any fond memories of him. Like we weren't really close. Like he didn't really teach me a lot. It was, I was kind of like closer to my mom, my grandpa, things like that. My dad was okay, but he was just, it is what it is. Like we weren't close. I would hate for that to happen.
You ain't got to fear that, dude, because you ain't got
No, there ain't that. No, I won't allow that to happen, but I would just hate it if like he thought ill of me when I wasn't here. You know what I mean? That is kind of scary to like, or if I like died tomorrow and my wife was like, it sucks that he's gone. He was a good friend, but like he wasn't the best husband in the world.
Yeah. No, I get it. Not feeling, like you did enough for your loved ones,
exactly.
You don't want them to feel that. Yeah, that's a good one. I guess I don't know. I don't really have my own kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not married, and so it makes it where I didn't think of anything like that. That's a good top one, man. You did good, man. You redeemed your Red Baron.
Every week with the Red Baron.
He's on a top 5 pizzas and frozen. You know what? We're over an hour. We're not getting into it. Let's go. We're good.
Mike, as always, I enjoyed the discussion tonight, sir. While we're getting you out of here, remind the people they can find you on Twitter.
Letter C, letter D, Piglet. CD Piglet, guys.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Well, you